After divorce, restore control, reduce
Are you
costs, and think
considering
like a
starting
banker.
fresh after divorce? Or if you consider that there may be a much better way to actually focus on restoring and recovering what you've lost? Hey, pause for a minute. If you found this video, it's probably because life is fine, or maybe it's not. It's because you're coming out of something very heavy. And I want you to know something right up front. You're not behind because you got divorced. You're not behind because you're going through a divorce. You're not behind because you're considering divorce. You're behind when you're forced to make financial decisions without clarity. So let me say this the way I say it to high performing professionals all the time. Divorce doesn't destroy wealth, financial blind spots do. And most of those blind spots show up right after divorce, when people are exhausted, emotionally drained, and trying to just start fresh. Well, my name is Jeffrey Taylor, and I'm a wealth architect. And I've interviewed over 3,000 people over the course of my career. I help informed professionals who were divorcing, in the middle of a divorce, and after they were divorced, to restore control and to reposition their money so that they're protected with two different outcomes that work together. Number one, to position them to never lose money. And number two, position them to never run out of money. If this matters to you, stay with me. Before we go any further, let me make this a safe place. This is not a product pitch. This is not financial advice. And I'm not here to pressure you into anything. What I'm going to do is I'm going to walk through a missing lens many people never receive. Why starting fresh feels responsible. It's a good idea. You may belong to some group that is helping you to get a fresh start, but it can quietly drain your future through something called negative wealth transfers and opportunity costs. So, as you listen, don't try to memorize everything. Take notes because you can reference these things later and maybe we can talk about your notes and what your concerns were. But let me ask you this one question. Is it possible I've been thinking like a borrower? Okay, I want you to think about this. When I need to be thinking like a banker, is it possible that you've been thinking like a borrower when you need to be thinking like a banker? See, divorce papers and divorce does something very specific to smart people. It creates financial urgency and emotional fatigue at the same time. And that combination makes even high income professional do things like liquidate accounts that they shouldn't be liquidating, paying off property, setting themselves up for financial failure, making extra payments when that's taking them in the opposite direction that they want to go, avoid planning. I cannot tell you how many professionals have told me that I'm too busy to read a few chapters in a book, or I'm too busy to watch a 10 or 15-minute video. Ladies and gentlemen, if you find yourself in this situation, and if you've done any of that, hear me. It doesn't make you irresponsible. It makes you human. But here's the danger in that. When emotion is high and you choose what feels simple, and that's not strategic. And that's when wealth quietly disappears. Let's name what actually happening. We call them negative wealth transfers. It's any money movement where your wealth is leaking away quietly without you noticing it. It's not just debt, it's not just expenses, it's the hidden cost of interest that you're overpaying. And you don't even see it. There's no notification, there's no paperwork showing you this. Taxes that you didn't need to pay, equity that sits trapped and idle, retirement money that gets split and then taxed later, and decisions that freeze your options. And the biggest one, ladies and gentlemen, is opportunity cost. Opportunity cost is what your money could have done for you if it wasn't locked up. Wow. And after divorce, Opportunity cost becomes expensive because you need to feel, you need to have flexibility, you need to have options, you need to have certainty, and you need to have reserves more than ever. Let me say it another way. After divorce, the goal isn't starting over. The goal should be to recover, recapture, and restore. Now, we get to the heart of it. There are two financial mindsets. One is the borrower's mindset. The borrower's mindset focuses on, well, how do I get out of debt faster? How do I pay everything off now? How do I simplify? How do I eliminate the next payment? See, borrowers are looking for relief, but the banker's mindset, see, the banker focuses on how do I control my capital? How do I preserve liquidity? How do I keep my options? How do I redirect my interest from losses and into assets? How do I make my money show up in more than one place at the same time? See, bankers want positioning. See, we want to focus on the banker's mindset of repositioning, recapturing, and restoration. And after divorce, unfortunately, if you're trying to recover and restore, you don't need to eliminate everything. You need to stop negative wealth transfers and begin to restore control over your finances. So now, let's talk about the real world decisions professionals like you make after divorce. The ones that make you feel responsible but quietly destroy future security. And as I go through these, I want you to notice something. If you feel yourself saying, yes, okay, I've been doing that. No judgment. This is not about you judging yourself. Okay? So let's go through them. Number one, overpaying the mortgage, even though you have a low interest rate and you think that you're not still overpaying your mortgage. Yes, you are. See, the borrower's mindset is thinking, even if the rate is low, let me pay it off faster. Or because I'm getting a low interest rate, let me go into debt. The banker's mindset is thinking, why would I send extra money away? If that same money could restore liquidity, if that same money could reduce my risk, if that same money could better position me. Because when we ignore this, cash gets trapped, options shrink, and you're forced to use debt again later under worse terms. Number two, extra payments feel emotionally free, especially when you're bragging about it. I'm making extra payments on my car. I'm actually making extra payments on my student loans, or making extra payments on my car on my a line of credit, my business loan. It may sound good, it may even feel good, but emotional healing and financial positioning are not the same thing. Borrower's mindset says, I want that payment gone. The banker says, I want that money working for me. See, the cost of ignoring this is that you trade flexibility for a temporary feeling, and later you pay for it with more stress, fewer opportunities, and less money to work with. Number three, owning a high value property that doesn't pay you. This one is huge. You got this beautiful home, right? You can save thousands of dollars in property equity and you're still feeling tight because equity isn't the same as liquidity. You got a paid off property. You've got three or $400,000, $500,000 in this property, but it's not liquid. And the borrower's mindset says, well, at least I own it. The banker says, why isn't this property producing options for me? Why isn't this property producing reserves for me? Why isn't this property producing cash flow? See, the cost of ignoring this is that you stay dependent on your job, even though you have wealth trapped in your walls, in your ceiling, and in the floor of your property. Number four, paying cash for a property. Oh my God, this is one of the worst ones. Let me say something that shocks people. Paying cash can be worse than the divorce. Why? Because the divorce may split assets, right? You may have to split your assets. But paying cash freezes up your capital completely. The borrower's mindset says, hey, I don't have a mortgage, I'm safer. But the banker mindset says, no liquidity puts me in a position where I'm more vulnerable to economic change or unexpected hardship. The cost of ignoring this is that you become asset rich and option poor. And when the next life event happens, that's when you find yourself in a situation where you're in regret because you're sitting on all of that equity and you didn't create liquidity when you could. Number five is paying heavy taxes from IRAs and 401ks. So after divorce, people start thinking, I'll just pull the money from my retirement when I need it. But the retirement accounts can come out with a huge tax bill attached and sometimes penalties. The borrower's mindset says, hey, I'll just deal with taxes later, right? Can I tell you how many folks that I've counseled with in this regard said, oh, I'll just deal with that later. But the banker's mindset says, listen, taxes are a wealth transfer and that works against me. I'm going to plan through it. I'm going to plan around it and I'm going to avoid it legally. The cost of ignoring this is that you rebuild with a leak, a financial leak that you can't see. And until it shows up, you find out how much money you've actually lost, how many years you've worked to save that money. And it's as if you didn't even work those extra years because of the impact of the taxes. Ooh, goodness. Don't put that kind of pressure on yourself. Number six, trying to make up for splitting retirement by working longer. This is one of the quietest tragedies. Why? Because you split the retirement, so you just say, hey, I'll just work longer. But you got to ask yourself, when you work longer, what are you actually paying? What are you actually doing? You're paying with time. You're paying with your quality of life. You're paying with your health. You're paying with your freedom. You're paying with your peace of mind. And the cost of ignoring this is that your plans can become dependent on an unstable job market and an unstable body where hopefully you don't get sick or have some type of physical setback because neither of those are guaranteed. Number seven, assuming the market will save your retirement. I cannot tell you again how many times I've heard this one, only to see broken hearts and folks frustrated and mad. Because again, borrowers hope, bankers plan. The borrower's mindset says, hey, the market will come back. Okay. The banker says, I need certainty and access regardless of the markets. See, the cost of ignoring this is that you're forced to retire according to the market's move and not your quality of life. You don't want to be in that situation. Number eight, here's a good one regarding our children. Funding private school without reusable money system. So private school is an important part of your family tradition. You want to make sure that your children have a better edge and are prepared for the future. So when you're in this situation, the question is, how do we pay for private school without depleting our retirement? How do we pay for private school without depleting our cash reserves? How do we pay for private school in a way that just makes sense, where I can still build my retirement, I can still fund my business, I can still take care of the things that I need to take care of at the same time? Ladies and gentlemen, the borrower is always draining other reserves to pay for private school. The banker's mindset funds private school and retirement and funds the next car without draining reserves. Remember, rule number two is to position yourself to never run out of money. The cost of ignoring this is that you fund education while starving your future reserves. You don't want to be in that situation. Number nine, believing that you can make wise decisions without being informed. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, You don't want to be so busy where you can't take a little time to read a couple of chapters of a book or to watch a couple of videos to be informed. The borrower's mindset says, I am too busy to read. The borrower's mindset says, I am too busy to be informed. The borrower's mindset says, I am too busy to learn how to recover, recapture, and restore. But the banker's mindset says, I'm going to put together a plan to what? To restore, to recapture, and to recover. So listen, the biggest one is starting fresh by liquidating. Okay, wait a minute. This is the headline. People liquidate accounts. They sell their properties. They pay off everything because they want closure. But closure can be expensive, ladies and gentlemen, because liquidation often triggers unnecessary taxes, the loss of compounding. And remember, the loss of compounding means that that's extra cash flow coming to you without having to work for it. Lost liquidity. Again, you're depleting your reserves. Lost time and irreversible opportunity cost. Opportunity cost, when that works against you, that just makes it harder to make more money. The cost of ignoring this is that you don't just lose money, ladies and gentlemen, you lose momentum. You're already going through the divorce. Let's not make decisions that are going to cause us to lose momentum to continue to move forward. Momentum is hard to rebuild. Listen, let's turn the corner because this isn't a doom message. And I want you to feel that you have the option. I want you to see that you have the option to restore, that you have the option to recover, and you have the option to recapture. So here's what informed professionals do differently. They shift from how do I start over to how do I recover what's been lost and restore control. They stop their negative wealth transfers. They reduce opportunity costs. They reposition money so it can do more than one job. And their goals become never losing money and never running out of money. That is what it means to think like a banker, to position yourself to never lose money and to position yourself to never run out of money. This is exactly why I created the Fresh Start After Divorce Challenge, because most people are trying to rebuild without a map. And I want to give you that map. On day one, we're going to talk about the hidden cost of starting fresh. We identify where money is leaking. We're going to talk about the meaning of negative wealth transfers, how to identify them in your situation, and how to reverse them to your advantage. Day two, we're going to talk about repositioning wealth after the divorce. We walk through how informed professionals reposition equity, restore liquidity, and stop hidden interest losses. We're going to use the same income they already earn to implement these strategies. Day three, we're going to show you how to create a recovery blueprint. We put together into a calm, strategic framework so you can rebuild certainty, ladies and gentlemen. Rebuild your cash flow. Rebuild long-term security without speculation, market timing, or guessing. This isn't about elite thinking. This is about being informed. This is about taking on the banker's mindset, where you're going to actually learn how to create a 7-year blueprint to have all of your debts paid off. And the second phase of that is doubling property equity, separate from market appreciation, doubling your cash reserves without market losses and without taxes, and doubling your flow of cash without the need of a tenant. Let me ask you a simple question. If you had a clear picture of where your money is leaking and a calm blueprint to restore control, would you feel more confident? Because that's the goal here, is the confidence through clarity. So here's my invitation. Take a minute, register. You know the link, you know the rules. You can find the link, you register, and all that kind of good stuff. And you can expect that during this challenge, I promise you, there won't be any pressure, there won't be any hype, and we won't do a product pitch. We will walk you through repositioning, recovering, and recapturing. I look forward to seeing you soon.